welcome to The Outlook, a conversation about life from Students for Life. My name is Isabel, and today I'll be talking with Autumn Lindsey, student spokesperson with Students for Life in America. Thanks for joining us, Autumn. How is everything where you yourself are based?
Great. Thank you so much for me. I'm excited to be able to talk about pro-life issues with you.
Brilliant. And over in Ireland here, we're still kind of under some COVID-19 restrictions. Is it the same for you, or have things eased?
Yes, we're still pretty much in the thick of all of it here.
Yeah, it's hard. So I just have a few questions for you, Autumn. So firstly, could you share with us some of the work that Students for Life in America do, and then maybe some of the work that you yourself do?
Yeah. So Students for Life of America, one of the unique things about us is that we are on college campuses. Now, of course, with COVID, that's looking a little bit different. We're doing our best to stay connected with our students and making sure that they have opportunities to talk about abortion. But when we're on campus, it's really amazing because we're able to host events so that college students and high school and middle school are able to have conversations about abortion with their peers, with the tools to be successful in that. And so I think that Students for Life is just doing an amazing job at being able to change the culture on college campuses. And I think that's helping us a lot in seeing the growth and the information and the knowledge that's being spread, and turning people to the pro-life movement, because we are on the side of science and compassion. And I think that when we have an opportunity to talk about that, we're able to change hearts and minds.
Definitely. Brilliant. Yeah. And have you yourself always been pro-life? Like, is there anything that motivated you to be pro-life?
I have been pro-life my entire life. My family is pro-life, but I wasn't doing anything with that belief. I wasn't putting it into action until I was 16. And I saw a Teen Vogue article, which is a teen fashion magazine, talking about abortion and encouraging girls to get abortions and to be there for friends to have abortions. I remember just thinking, this shouldn't be the message going out to girls my age. So I sat down and I wrote a video. Definitely. And that was kind of my first dive into the pro-life movement, is doing that response video.
Wow, brilliant. Very brave for a 16-year-old. Oh my God. And so there are 1,000 really branches of pro-life societies on campuses, as you said, across America. And, how do you manage to engage and attract students? Because obviously in Ireland, we obviously have college campuses and things. And so, how do you manage to keep students from just kind of mentally saying, no thanks, pro-life, and walking away,
I think that is something that we struggle with, because the pro-life movement is not something that's easy to talk about, and not everyone wants to be involved in it. But I think the power of being on campuses and having real life conversations is you're able to start those conversations and plant those seeds. And I also think that the resources that we have and the information, science that we have helps us, because we're able to go to people with accurate information and say, this is the reality of abortion, and this is why we're standing out here today. And so I just think, just with the information that we have and what we know why we're pro-life, being able to bring that into a conversation can really change hearts and minds in ways that we wouldn't expect.
And do you receive positive, responses from people on campus? I mean, obviously you probably struggle with a good few people, but for the most part, is it quite positive, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think partially it depends on where you're at. My college campus, of course, is a little bit more liberal, which is a little bit more pro-choice. So I feel like we struggle more than other colleges. But I mean, you really see both sides of it. You see amazing conversations where you're engaged with somebody that you didn't even know before, and you're having a heart-to-heart conversation, and they're really thinking about where they stand on this movement. But then, of course, you have the people that just want to scream at you and whatever else. So I think you definitely need a balance of both. So you got to have thick skin when you're going into the pro-life movement, for sure.
Definitely, yeah. And speaking then of liberal college campuses and your campus itself, in the very kind of divided political climate, like in America and other places actually at the moment, do you find that it kind of, hampers the pro-life movement, or are you able to navigate it successfully and continue making progress?
I think it's something that is difficult at first, but we're constantly fighting against kind of the idea that the pro-life stance is only a conservative stance, because in reality, the pro-life movement is very, very diverse. There's very close people I work with in the pro-life movement that are liberal, that are atheists, that are Christian, that are Catholic. And so it's really all across the board. And so I think that being able to include everyone and find ways to make the pro-life movement inclusive is something that we're constantly working towards, rather than simply making it a only conservative stance, because it really shouldn't be. It's a human rights issue and it should be on every platform. So I think a lot of what the pro-life movement is doing is we're trying to engage all sides of the realm and say we can all stand together on this issue. It does not have to be.
So abortion was legalized here in Ireland following a referendum in 2018. I mean, you probably know that. It appears that in America, however, there's, a swing in the culture towards the pro-life movement and towards pro-life views. Do you think, how do you think that that's come about? And possibly if you have any words of encouragement, maybe for us who are still fighting over here as well.
Yeah, I say there's definitely a few factors that I think play into that. First, I really think that social media has actually been a tool for us, because we're able to share this information about the pro-life movement that's based in science and logic and spread it to a large group of people, whereas that's harder to do on, person to person, having those conversations. But when you have a social media platform, you're able to spread that message a lot faster. I also think that in the past years, we've been able to have a lot of science on our side. Back in the day, people would just say, oh, it's a clump of cells and move on. But now we can prove that it's not just a clump of cells. Life begins at conception, and that's a scientifically proven fact. And so, of course, when we're able to use that in conversations, it shows people that, this is real and that preborn babies are alive and that they're human. And I also think, of course, just resilience is what it takes. We have been fighting for many years, and we have very strong-willed, passionate people in this pro-life movement that are driving the forces. Often we call ourselves the pro-life generation, which is my generation, because we believe that this is the generation that's going to abolish abortion in America. So I think just the right information mixed with the right people, mixed with the passion to drive us forward, is really what's going to bring us home in this movement and make sure that women and children are protected in this country and that we see the abolishment of abortion.
Autumn, so thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your knowledge with us. This is the last episode in the current series of The Outlook, so stay tuned to our Facebook page for updates about our new series, and thank you all so much for tuning in.